Hey, what's up guys? I wanted to give you a trick that an executive coach I hired gave me and has really helped me become more efficient. And that is to create a flow cheat sheet or checklist for when you really need to get something done. How many of you, and this is probably a rhetorical question since you're on the other side of a camera and can't answer even if you want to, but comment down below if you feel the need to respond. How many of you have sat down to start a project and been like, that's it, I'm gonna write, it's gonna happen, we're gonna get some stuff done, and then your phone goes off? Or you accidentally open your email browser, or Facebook pings, or you open TikTok and then the day ends because you scrolled for like 12 hours. Maybe not that extreme, but you get what I'm saying, right? So a flow checklist, right? Flow is this state, we've all been there, I think, at some point you can relate. It's that state you get in when you're just in the zone. Things are just, they flow, right? Like that's the whole reason that we call it flow. It's like, the best example for me is when I was in high school, I was a barista. I worked in a coffee shop. And there were times when we would just get slammed. And, a lot of people, they kind of break down in that chaos. But I really liked when I was working the espresso machine and we would get really slammed. Like, there were times where I would just tell people, like, hey, you just take the register. Like, I got this. This is my place. And I would just get in the zone and I would just be slinging drinks. And it was like time stood still for me. Like everything went in slow motion and I was just this machine pumping out drinks. And then it was like, it would stop and everything would die down and I would, like, wow, where'd the 2 hours go or whatever, right? And that's flow. It's like you're just on it. It's same thing for like if you're playing pool and you're just on a roll. You cannot miss. And you don't know what's going on. You're not thinking through stuff. It's just happening. Or you're writing and you just, it's that state where you take the, like, you're not thinking about thinking, it's just happening, right? You just get in the rhythm. And the thing is, you can trigger flow. And most people don't realize this. And so most people, it just kind of happens when it happens, or it doesn't happen when you want it to happen. And in flow state, you are much more effective, like 2, 3, 4 times more effective than out of flow state. And so if you can trigger this during a set time when you want to work on a project, you can exponentially increase the amount of work that you can get done in a day. And so we're going to talk through kind of this building a checklist or cheat sheet in order to set yourself up for success. So one of the things that I do is in the mornings, I don't really schedule anything before 11. And I've kind of told my team, like, don't bring me problems unless they're a $5,000 or more problem prior to 11. Like, don't stress me out. Don't bring me issues. Don't ask me questions. Like, I don't care how menial the task is. If it is before 11 a.m., it does not matter. That's gym time. That's journal time. That's gym time. That's morning routine time. That is creative time. That is think time. That is film a video time. That is whatever Dave wants to put on his journal and do time. Leave me alone. Like, if the question, I don't care if the question is as simple as like, hey, where would you like me to file this letter? Because as simple as that is, that can wait till 11. And I know that seems kind of like petty, but like it's the whole idea that like, if you hear like Steve Jobs or some of these guys, they wore like the exact same outfit every day, right? The idea is you only have brain power to make so many decisions a day. And so if you're making these tiny little decisions, then you're wasting that power on things that you could be making those decisions on much larger, more important things, right? And so the idea is just to, don't spend that energy thinking about little tiny things until after you've accomplished your most important tasks for the day, right? So we've talked in the past about winning the day. Those 3 things that if you can accomplish these 3 things, then no matter what else happens in the day, you've won the day. Now you can feel accomplished. So you should do those 3 things prior to 11. Then, no matter what else happens in the day, you've won the day. You can allow yourself to feel good, right? So I'm going to share with you my flow checklist. And it's this, and I don't have it memorized, so I'm going to read it to you. I have it printed out. I also have it on my Google Drive. This is mine, and I would encourage you to build one for you specifically because it is going to be different for you. And you'll see why, and I'll explain what these mean and how I came up with them. I actually need to add something to this because I have changed something recently, but we'll talk about that in a minute. And I'll talk through what these each kind of mean, and then I'll share it inside of the video as well so you can see it. Like, I'll probably just minimize myself in the corner in a minute and share it on the video screen. And then I will also probably just share it where you can link to it in the video. I'll put it in the YouTube like comments so you can get it off of Google Drive and you can make your own off it. So, okay. So here's how to trigger flow. There are 10 steps, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through the 10, and then I'll just do them all. I'll rather than running through the 10 and then tell you what mine are, I'll just number 1 and tell you what mine is. So the first one is eliminate external extractions. Eliminate external distractions. So that is, like for me, that's put my phone away, right? So in my case, that is, I'm in my little office. I walk out and I put my phone over in the kitchen on the counter. Now what I need to add to this list is I said turn off notifications on my watch. I got a new watch. It's a little pain to actually get it to turn off the notifications. So I now take my watch off and set it next to my phone out there. So I need to put that. And then I shut my office door and I actually pull my like soundproofing curtain shut. So that's external distractions eliminated, right? Like everybody knows the door's shut. Don't bug me. I can't hear as much coming in from the door. Phone is out of earshot. Watch is not notifying me of anything. External distractions off, right? And then internal distractions. So this is the like multiple browsers open, which I have. So here's the solution to that. Open a single browser. So like if I'm going to work on a task, I will take that browser off of all of the other browsers and make it full screen. So that, yes, I have 10 browsers open, maybe, right, of all the things I need to do all the time, but I will just take the one browser and make it full screen to block out all the other ones, right, instead of having all the browsers, you get what I'm saying? Any thoughts of things that I need to do? So like if you're thinking of things you need to do, instead of opening a new browser, which is what I normally do, if you're in flow state, flow time, write it on a sticky note or a piece of paper, right? Don't open tabs. You can do that later. Just write it on a sticky note. Okay? Your goal here is not to open the tab, because if you open the tab, you distracted yourself. So just, right? Like shorthand, just like USA, whatever the note is. Okay. Work at your biological best time. So there's this thing called the like chronograph or whatever. Like you can figure out if you're like a bear or whatever, which is like figuring out if your best time is to work at like 4 in the morning or like 9 in the morning or like 2 in the afternoon or like 10 at night. I think the website is like, I don't remember. Just go Google like your chronograph or like your biological best time. There's a test. You can take it, help you figure out like what is the best time for you. So like for me, the best time is like that 9 to 11 or 8 to 11. Like that's the sweet spot. So that's when I set up. That's why I came up with that window. That's when I get my stuff done. So figure that out. So yeah, there's a way to research it. Seemed to work well from like 9 to noon. So that's my time. Okay, number 4, listen to the right kind of music. No vocals, right? That's the important one here. It can be whatever music gets you to pay attention, but it doesn't have to be like no vocals at all. But don't be like singing along and stuff. Just, I personally, for me, I would recommend that you check out brain.fm. So BRAIN, brain.fm. Ryan Dossie turned me onto this. It's great. You can open it and you can click like, I want focus music, or I want meditate music, or I want sleep music, or there's one other like rest or something creative. And under focus, it could be like deep work or creative flow or whatever. And it's just music. And if you have headphones on, it's better because it's like, it's like I can't remember what the name of that style of audio stuff is, but it works super good. It's great for getting you into like flow state. But even if it's on speakers, it works. But definitely, if you can do headphones, you should. I recommend Brain.fm. Otherwise, I just put on like a YouTube track of like, I don't know, like I listen to weird stuff like Lord of the Rings with no vocals, Pirates of the Caribbean with no vocals, like I don't know, like just all kinds of random music and different cultures and classical music sometimes, or yeah, but Brain.fm is definitely the best, I think. All right, so number 6, it has to be challenging enough but not too challenging, right? So like it can't be, if you want to get into flow, it can't be like this super easy task, like mundane, boring. Like you're never going to get into flow if it's like doesn't challenge you at all. But if it's like a brain teaser, like puzzle challenge, you're not going to get into flow easy. Like it has to be like there's a sweet spot, right? It has to be somewhat challenging and like engaging, but it can't be like a problem that you're unable to solve and you need help with. Number 7, clear upcoming goal, right? So basically, if you're going to shut the door, like before you shut the door and put your phone away and all that stuff, just decide what it is that you're going to work on, okay? Like you need to sit down and say, I am going to film a video. Great. As you can see, I didn't do the flow chart today because I got my watch on and my phone's right there, but that's just because I'm literally just filming a video, so I wasn't going to get into flow for 20 minutes. Consume caffeine strategically. So like maybe if you're going to work from like 9 to 12, consume caffeine at like 7:30 or 8, but you don't need to consume it all day. You don't want to be hooked on it so it has no effect. Stay hydrated, right? Try to work towards like a gallon a day or a half, 3/4 of a gallon. Like know how much water you need to drink and consume that, because the better hydrated you are, the better you're going to be at staying focused and getting hydrated and all that other good stuff. And then the last point is to create a mental cue. So an anchor, right? So there should be like a trigger, like something, some action that you do when you want to trigger flow, that you only do when you want to trigger flow, right? So when it is time to work and focus, then that is the only time, realistically, that you should do said action. So for me, that is closing the door and pulling the sound curtain. So there are only 2 times that I shut the door and pull the sound curtain. And those 2 times are when I want to go through the flow checklist and I am going to focus for 2 or 3 hours, or if I'm recording podcasts. And if I'm recording podcasts, it's usually like 2 or 3, like 2 podcasts or 3. And so it's not necessarily like flow state, but it's decently focused for a decent amount of time. So it doesn't really mess up my flow checklist, because my body, like, I know that, like, hey, anytime the door's shut and the sound blanket's pulled, it is focus on this singular task time. So this is the flow checklist, flow cheat sheet, whatever. I think this is something that will absolutely help you become way more efficient. And so I wanted to add this in here as some additional content to help you. So if you found some value in it, make sure you comment. If you haven't joined the YouTube channel, subscribe, whoop-de-doop-de-doo, and have a great day.